Hey there, beautiful people. It's Dina bringing another daily dose. I hope everybody had an awesome holiday weekend. But I want to talk a little bit about managing our well-being during busy times or busy events as a special needs mom or a mom navigating extreme circumstances. So many of us that are parenting a child with complex needs or behavior challenges, that doesn't change just because we have a family function or a holiday that comes up. Sometimes that can almost be more challenging during a holiday season. We just had a busy weekend this past weekend, and it was filled with lots of activity and lots of fun, and all of our family was together. My son was home from the military, and we just had a jam-packed weekend. But you could even still find yourself feeling overwhelmed in a negative way when you have a lot going on and you're trying to manage your child that can possibly get overstimulated in an environment like that. So my daughter Gracie, which I share about often on this channel, she has Down syndrome, but she also displays some character traits of being on the spectrum. So she has a really hard time with a lot of sensory overload or stimulation or loud noises. And even sometimes when she's wearing her headphones, she still has a hard time. She also doesn't, do very well when somebody wants to play with someone else and she wants to play. She kind of wants them to go off in her room by herself. She doesn't want to be in the loud environment, but she also wants someone to play with her. And sometimes the other kids, my grandkids, don't want to play with her. They want to stay with the big group of people. And so now she's having a meltdown, and I have to make sure that I'm managing her emotions as well as I'm trying to keep mine together. This is the scenario that I want to talk about today. Even in a situation where, again, it's fun, it was filled with lots of laughter, and we were being silly and all of that, if you're not managing your own well-being, it could actually turn on you. So I found that there were many times throughout the weekend that I was getting weary or overwhelmed or even agitated or even triggered by things that I would normally not be triggered by, or at least I'm not triggered by them anymore. So when you do a lot of inner work, which is what I talk about mostly on this channel, the transformation, the inner work, getting past those dark seasons, a lot of times we're stuck in our own negative thinking and our negative mindsets. And as we start to heal up our heart, as God starts to reveal things about our own lives that need to be worked on, you start to heal your heart. You can get to a place of almost complacency, like I'm good, I don't have any more issues. And then something like this comes, and all of a sudden you find yourself getting triggered by things, and you're like, what is going on? So the old me probably would have been combative, or I might have reacted in front of people. So I found myself stepping away more often just to kind of pull it together. And that's one of the things that you have to do to somebody else. They can look at it and think, what's wrong with her? Where did she go again? Why is she outside? Sometimes you have to step away so that you can maintain your well-being. And it's not always a bad thing. Sometimes it is just because there's so much sensory overload, even for a mom. So if you're a mom of a special needs child, or you've parented it through an extreme situation, you yourself can struggle with post-traumatic stress disorder, or they call it complex post-traumatic stress disorder, because that's not like an acute situation that you were in. It's an ongoing year after year situation if you're caring for somebody that has complex medical issues, and your entire day is spent caring for that person. Or maybe you're dealing with, again, a child that has extreme behaviors, and that does affect you. If you're doing it over and over and over again, year after year, your stress levels are so high. And once they get to the point where they're unmanageable, then things start shutting down in your body and in your brain and your command center of your brain. That starts to get to the point where you can't even manage day-to-day stress. Because you've dealt with such extreme stress, you can't even manage just the day-to-day stress. And it could be the stress of your body being tired. That's still a stressor on your body. There's physical stress to your body. And if you're somebody that has dealt with a long illness in your life, or you've just dealt with a lot of physical problems in your body, you're still in a very high stress state. You're just not necessarily in an emotionally high stress state. Your body has gone through extreme stress, and that's still managed within that command center of our brain. So if you're not managing your physical well-being, then your emotions aren't able to be managed as well. Because again, everything comes back to that command center. It's in the, your frontal lobe there. That is what processes stress. So if you haven't managed stress for many, many years, for me, it was decades, sometimes even just small stress, even though it's good, can still be hard for me to manage. So again, all of my family being together was a good thing, but I found myself almost feel like I was going backwards. I'm like, what is going on? Why am I getting so agitated? And it wasn't necessarily that things were being said, or it wasn't that. It was just that I was not managing my well-being. I was not sleeping well. There was one night I only had about an hour of sleep because I couldn't settle my mind down, and I was tossing and turning, trying to go to sleep. I finally fell asleep and an hour went by and my alarm went off and I had to get up and prepare everything for the next day for Easter and all of that. I was not managing my stress well. I wasn't even taking the time to really fully get away with God and spend that quiet time. I was doing it a little bit, but not to the point where I really needed to refuel so that I could handle a stressor, a more stressful situation. So again, just to repeat that, not all stress is bad. Sometimes just having a lot of people around and a lot of things going on around you can still feel like stress to your body if you're still healing, from long chronic bouts of stress, long seasons of stress as a special needs parent or a mom dealing with, or a parent dealing with extreme circumstances. So this is really just a reminder to do a heart check, a mind check, a body check, all of that, and check in. If you find yourself getting triggered more often or things are bothering you, or even if you're going through sleepless nights and you just can't seem to sleep, there's a couple things that I wanted to share with you. Number one, it might just be that you need to make sure that you're managing your mind, your body, your soul, all of that. Okay, spend that time with God. Make sure you're eating healthy. I was not eating healthy. I have not been doing that these last few weeks that my son has been home. We've had a lot of family parties and a lot of like those typical pizza and nachos and all that stuff that you're trying to feed a big group of people. And so I wasn't eating very well. And Easter always comes with all the extra goodies and the candy and all of that. So right there, that it affects my mood. And I'm sure if you're somebody that gets affected by that, then you can understand when you're not eating healthy, then your mood is not always correct. And then you can't even handle a big situation that is fun or not fun. What I'm saying is that stressor can really take its toll on you. So make sure you're managing yourself. The other thing is that God might actually be revealing something that still needs healing. So even though you may have gone through a lot of inner healing and you've healed up your heart, there are things that only come around once in a while. And if you think, I'm good, I've moved past all this, and then something comes up and you're like, what is going on here? It's because God is showing you that that's an area that still needs some healing, or he wants to see if you're going to respond in the right way. Are you going to go back to the old ways of being, or are you actually going to use what you've learned and all the transformational journey? Are you going to actually respond in the right way? Are you going to use those fruits of the Spirit, which are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness? I always say long-suffering and self-control. Are you going to be self-controlled, or are you going to yell and scream? And if you grew up in a family where there was a lot of yelling, so sometimes that, in being in that situation, that could trigger you. Now, I didn't necessarily grow up in a household with a lot of yelling, but there definitely was times where we were yelled at. I grew up in a family with a lot of big events, and so there was a lot of noise and loudness, but from our day-to-day life, it was pretty quiet. And my dad worked evenings, so he wasn't home at night, except on the weekends. We were all doing our own thing, so it was kind of quiet. But when we're together with a big family, it could be very loud and overstimulating, and sometimes I find myself shutting down in those situations. Even in my day-to-day life, my life is pretty quiet at home. My husband's office is in the basement. Mine's in the upper part of our house, and 𝗍𝗄𝘃 spends a lot of time in her room. If we're not doing something together or doing school, it's quiet in my house. So when I spend the entire weekend with my whole family, all my grandkids, all the extended family, then that feels like I am not able to manage the amount of stimulation that's coming in. So I know that I have to take that time, and there are times that you just got to get away, that you have to go through the decompression. So I had to do that this morning. I just had to kind of get quiet with God. I did have an inner healing class this morning with my beautiful Carolyn. She's listening at all. And it just really helped me to recognize what was really going on, and then just how to recenter myself. And even if it's just sitting quietly and listening to soaking worship music, you don't always have to be crying out and praying to God or reading your Bible. Sometimes he just wants you to rest and be quiet. And so honestly, that's really what I needed to do this morning. But I still have a very busy day. I have a recording scheduled today for our podcast. I know that I'm going to have to take the time to rest, recoup everything from the weekend, because I woke up and today was still a work day and still busy. But I still have to make sure that I manage that, because if I go too many days without doing it, then I cannot show up as a good mom or as a good wife, or honestly sometimes as a good human being, as I share on this channel all the time. So if you had one of those weekends where it was just extra everything, just take the time to heal this morning, today, whatever it is. Just take the time to rest, get a little extra sleep, go to bed a little bit early, replenish your body with nutrient-rich food, lots of hydration, all that you have to do to heal your body physically. Put good things in. If you spent time with family members that, complain a lot about things going on, and my family did not do that, but I'm saying there are some families that get together and all they do is talk about negative things. And all they do is talk about all the stuff that's going on in the world or the government or whatever. Now, I do believe that we need to be mindful of all that, but sometimes it can be an overload of negativity. Honestly, I just heard this morning in my class that 17 seconds of ruminating or thinking about a negative thought is very toxic for your body. And I was like, oh my gosh, 17 seconds. There are times there were seasons that's all I did was think about negative things. No wonder my body's in such a hot mess. So we've got to take the time to heal from that and to reverse the damages of that. And I believe that God can heal a body in an instant. I believe we actually are already healed. I just think that sometimes we've got to get that into alignment with our physical world that we're in right now. So anyway, I hope this encourages you. Take some time for yourself today. If you're a busy mom or a special needs mom, or you're navigating through a season in your family that is really hard, it is crucial that you take time to rest. Rest your mind, get off of social media, get off of your phone. And here I am recording, and I would say, turn it off. You know what I'm saying? Fill your mind with good things. Fill your body with good things. Spend some quality time alone so that you can recoup, because we're always going to have those moments. And if we can recoup in between each one, then we're going to be much better when the next one comes along. But if you're not taking the time to heal yourself and just get away and decompress, that's when it starts to build up. And then you find yourself where it was just a day, a week, a month. Now you're in a season of darkness and you can't pull yourself out of that. And that is really the story of my life, and why I share so much about how to help somebody walk through that so that it doesn't become a way of life. It might just be brief moments. Then you learn the tools, biblical truths and things to help yourself out of that. So anyway, again, I hope this encourages you. Remember that the Creator of the universe loves you. He has a plan for your life. It is good, even through all the difficult things that we have to walk through as busy moms and wives and whoever might be watching. So just remember that. And I love you, and I can't wait for us to be back together again. So have an awesome day, and go rest.